Good morning, class 10th. So the topic for today is the refraction of light. Let us understand the meaning and the basic concept. So if you are given the source of light here, what will happen? It will emit light and the light will go straight. Light will travel in a straight path. Now if on its path I introduce a glass slab. I hope you all have seen the glass slab in your lab. So what is happening now is that the light is passing from the air and is entering into the second medium, which is glass. The moment we introduce the second medium here, the glass medium here, what we observe is that the light ray, which was actually going straight, deviates from its original path and bends. Light ray which was going straight deviates from its original path. So this bending, this deviation of light from its original path, when there is a change in the medium, is known as a refraction of the light. So one point we have just understood, that what is the refraction of the light? Refraction of the light is bending of the light. Bending of light. What are the requirements? When will the light bend? The light will bend whenever there is a change in the medium. So we can add to this bending of light when there is a change in the medium. When there is a change in the medium. Now the point is, question arises that why, whenever there is a change in the medium, why this light bends at all? Light bends because when the medium changes, there is a change in the speed of the light. That means in the air the speed of light was different, and when the light enters some other medium, say glass here, speed of light is different in glass medium. So this is a very important concept, and from there we are going to define a technical term that we call as the refractive index. What is that? How much? What is that factor that decides that okay, by how much factor the light will bend? Will it bend more? Will it bend less? For example, instead of glass, if I take hollow slab filled with water, will the bending of light be same as it was seen in the glass? It will be a little different. That means bending of light is a medium specific property. So if bending of light is a medium specific property, that means we can define a term which is medium specific. It is medium specific property. So we are going to define a term that we call as refractive index here. Refractive index of the medium. Refractive index of the medium. Whenever the light enters from one medium to another medium, there is a bending of light. So the bending depends upon the nature of the material that we have introduced, and that medium, that material, that medium specific property is what we call the refractive index of medium, and we denote this refractive index of medium as N. Sometimes in few books you will find the symbol to be N, or in few books you will find eta, which is a Greek symbol. So in few books you will find the symbol as N, the few books you will find the symbol, Greek symbol eta, eta. So let us now define the refractive index of the medium. For example, let us take the same example for the convenience. This is a glass slab here, and the light was going straight initially. The moment the glass slab is introduced, light bends from its original path. How does the bending of light takes place? That we'll discuss a little later. So we have to define the refractive index of what? We have to define the refractive index of the glass, because the light is actually bending into this medium. The light is actually bending into the glass. It is actually refracting into the glass, or the refraction has taken place in the glass. So when the refraction has taken place in the glass, so we are going to define the refractive index of glass with respect to which medium? What was the first medium from where the light was entering? Air. So I'll say that, okay, refractive index of glass with respect to air. And how to define this? A simple formula was given by the scientist Snell, Snell, Snell. And this formula that was given by Snell is known after his name, Snell's law. Let us now understand Snell's law with a very more clear diagram. Assuming that this is the direction of the incident light ray, and this is a second medium that is introduced on the path of the light ray, and this medium is, say, glass, and the light is entering from the medium air. So light has entered from air to glass. So at this point where the incident light ray, this light ray is incident light ray, where the incident light ray cuts the surface, we have to draw a normal. So what is a normal? By now you must be comfortable drawing a normal. Normal is a line which is perpendicular to the surface, and assuming that the angle that the incident light ray makes with the normal is I. So what we observe is that when the glass medium is introduced, then the light ray which was actually going straight will bend a little away from its path. The light ray will bend a little away from its path this way. So when the light ray bends away from its path, assuming that the angle the refracted, this light ray is known as the refracted light ray. So the angle that it makes with the normal is, say, R. So this light ray is incident light ray. ILR means that incident light ray, and this light ray that I am defining here is refracted light ray. This is refracted light ray. So angle I is the angle of incidence and angle R is the angle of refraction. Then Snell defined refractive index as it is the ratio of sine of angle I to the sine of angle R. So let us try and understand a very simple concept using a numerical. This is a glass slab here, and this is the normal routine experiment that you used to perform in your physics lab also. Assuming that the medium here is air and it is glass, and the refractive index of the glass with respect to air is given to be 1.5. This is what is given to you, refractive index of the glass with respect to air. What does this mean? In which medium the refraction is taking place, glass or air? I told you before that, okay, when we write it as NGA, that means we are finding out the refractive index of glass with respect to air. So bending is taking place in glass, and the light is coming from which medium? Air. So if I draw the diagram here, light ray is falling at this particular point from the air. We draw a normal, and then the light was observed, bending of the light was observed. The light bends from its path a bit this way. Now the question is, obviously in the air medium the speed is different, the glass the speed is different. Your objective was that if the speed of light in air is given to you, which you all are aware of, 3 × 10⁸ meter per second, you have to find out velocity of the light in that medium in which the refraction has taken place. So we can use a simple formula, Snell's law, here to perform the calculation. NGA, refractive index of glass with respect to air, is equal to C by V. So when I substitute the values here, it is 1.5 is equal to 3 × 10⁸ divided by V. You solve it for V and the value comes out to be V is equal to 3 into 10 raised to the power 8 divided by 1.5. It implies that okay, V is equal to 2 into 10 power 8 meters per second. Just look at the value here and look at the value that was given to you. This was the speed of light in air. The speed of light in air was given as 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second, which is the maximum value of the speed of light which is known to you. The speed of light in air or vacuum is same, 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. And the speed of light in glass we have just calculated, it came out to be 2 into 10 raised to the power 8 meter per second. This is the speed of light in glass. That means the light was traveling very fast with a speed of 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second in air. And it keeps moving in the glass slab, it keeps bending, and when it is finally in the glass, now it is moving with a speed of light 2 into 10 raised to the power 8 meter per second. The speed of light is a little less. When the speed of light decreases, that means the bending takes place towards the normal. This is an important fact that you can write it down. When the speed of light decreases, when the speed decreases, speed of light decreases, that means bending is towards the normal or away from the normal. Bending is towards the normal. So can be there in the objective types. And when you check your books, and you'll find that okay, the refractive index is normally given more than 1. The value is, the refractive index is more than 1. Can the refractive index of the medium, of any medium, can the refractive index of any medium be less than 1? So let us explore the answers very quickly. A surface here, this side is glass, say, and we call this glass as the denser medium. Why? When we perform the calculation, we always found that the refractive index of the glass is more than the refractive index of the air. So if the refractive index is more, we call that medium as a denser medium. We call that medium as a denser medium. And when the refractive index is less, we call that medium as a rare medium. And how to find out the refractive index? I have just told you, by finding the ratios of the speed of light. So when the light is passing from rare medium to denser medium, what will happen to the light? Draw a normal, and we observe that the light bends towards the normal. So in this case, when the light bends towards the normal and we find the value of the speed of light, ratios of the speed of light, we found that the refractive index of the glass with respect to air is always more than 1. So the refractive index is more than 1 in case the light is going from a rare to denser medium, air to glass, air to water, vacuum to water. Now the second example, let us see that also very quickly. Assuming that this side is air, again air is there, that means there is no change in the medium. That means the light which is going in this specific direction will keep moving in the specific direction without any change. Why there won't be any bending of light? Because the medium is same. So let me call this medium as second medium, and let me call this medium as first medium. So I'll say that okay, refractive index of second with respect to 1 is 1, because the speed of light remains same and the ratios will come out to be 1. You can take another example that this first medium can be, instead of air, you can take this medium to be vacuum. So in case the first medium is vacuum or air and the second medium is say air, then the refractive index comes out to be 1. Let us see the third case now. The third case is light is going from a denser medium, from glass to air, which is a rare medium. So when the light is going from glass, what will happen in the rare medium? Draw a normal. Let us find it out. This is the normal. And in the previous case, when it was going from rare to denser, it bends towards the normal. Now this light ray, this is the direction of the incident light ray, it will bend away from the normal. It will bend away from the normal. And in such case, if I find the refractive index of which medium? I find the refractive index of the medium in which the refraction, in which the bending has taken place. So which medium the bending has taken place? Bending has taken place in air. With respect to what was the first medium? Glass. So it is the refractive index of air with respect to glass. So the formula comes out to be, let us use a Snell's law and put the formula. The formula comes out to be Vg divided by Va. Just compare the formula with the first case. There the formula came out to be C by V when we were calculating the refractive index of glass with respect to air, there in that case. Now in this specific case, we are finding out the refractive index of air. Why air? Because the refraction is taking place in air with respect to glass. The formula is now V by C. So this V is the speed of light in glass. So let us put the value. V value, if assuming that it was 2 into 10 power 8 meter per second. And what is the value of C here? The C value is 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. And if I find the ratio of the two, what will I get? V by C comes out to be 2 by 3. This cancels out. And 2 by 3 is 0.6. That means refractive index of air with respect to glass is 0.6, which is less than 1. That means we can get the refractive index less than 1 in case the light is going from denser to rare medium. Next we have to study about the refraction or bending of light about the spherical surfaces, about the lenses. So the refraction or the bending of light can take place when you are given a glass slab that we studied just before, or it can take place whenever you are given a lens. Either the lenses like this or another lenses like this. So this case we have already done. What about the lenses here? We call these as the lenses, spherical lenses. So what is the difference between two? Just observe this lens. Isn't this lens is thicker at the center and it is very thin at the edges, and just reciprocal here, this lens is thin at the center and very thick on the edges. So the lens which is thick at the center, we call this lens as convex lens. This lens is known as the convex lens, and the lens which is thin at the center, thin at the middle, we call that lens as the concave lens. This lens is concave lens. So a lens thin at the center, thin at the middle is concave lens. A lens which is thick at the middle is known as a convex lens. Let us identify few more cases and explore that which of the lenses is convex and which of the lenses is a concave lens. So this you people are now aware of. Which type lens is this? Thick at the center and thin at the edges. So obviously it is a convex lens. Assuming that you are given this lens here. Which lens is this? Isn't that this lens too is thick at the center and it is very thin at the edges? So this lens too is convex lens. What about this third type of the lens? This lens you are aware of. This is a concave lens which is thin at the center and thick at the edges. So after the classification of different lenses, let us define what is a lens. Is lens a transparent medium or is lens an opaque medium? Of course it cannot be an opaque medium because the light is actually passing through the lens. So if the light is passing through the lens, should be a transparent medium. So lens, it is a transparent medium having either one or both sides spherical. Now when you tell you the definition from the classification of the lenses that we did a little before, it will be more clear. For example, if you are given this sphere made up of glass, another sphere made up of glass that is given to you, and if I retain this part here and eliminate the rest of this, we are going to cut the remaining part here and retaining only this part, sandwich part of the two spherical balls. So I am left with a lens. And what kind of lens is this? Yes, this is a convex lens. And now assuming that you are given a glass slab, a solid glass slab. Out of that solid glass slab, you have cut one sphere and you have cut a second sphere also. So if I retain this portion here, if I retain this portion and cut the rest of the part, so what will I be left with? I will be left with a new type of the lens, which is a which type lens is this? Yes, this is a concave lens. So one thing is clear from the simple construction, that both the convex and the concave lens, they are the part of the spheres, transparent spherical surfaces. Therefore the definition here is that it's a transparent medium having either or both sides spherical. Let us understand the different terms related to the lens, and after that we will come to the rules. So if the light rays are parallel to each other, that means the light rays are coming from infinity, and after passing through the lens we observe that the light rays, they meet a common point, and this common point is known as focus. So what is focus? Focus is the point at which all the incident light rays which are parallel to each other, they meet after refraction through the lens. And the center of the lens, there is one more term, this is the focus here. So the first term is focus, second term is optical center. Optical center is exactly similar to the pole that we studied in the case of the mirror. So what was pole there in the mirror? It was center of the mirror. It was center of the mirror. Here the center of the lens is known as the optical center. Center of the lens is known as the optical center. There is one more way to define optical center. We can define that very cleverly. So let us understand how to define optical center now in a more technical way. Assuming that this is the lens given to you and the light rays are coming from this side, obviously they will fall at a common point here, which is what we call as focus. It can be the other way around also. The light might be coming from the right side and they will meet somewhere on the left hand side. Assuming that the light is coming from right hand side, what I observe is that after passing through the lens, they are meeting at a common point. This is called focus. So both ways it can happen. If the light rays are coming from left side, they will meet here at this focus. So this is one focus. And if the light rays are coming from this side, they will again meet at a common point, which we call as focus. So the point which lies at the middle of both the focus is known as the optical center. This is a more technical definition and more like experimental way to define the optical center. So what is optical center? It is the middle point of both the focus. Middle point of both the focus. So this is called the optical center. Another term that we can define from here is that once we are aware of the focus and we are aware of the optical center, we are now in a better position to define a term that we call as the principal axis, like we did in the case of a mirror. So I am aware of the point focus, I know the optical center. If I join both the points by a straight line, so this straight line is known as principal axis. This straight line is known as principal axis. So what is the principal axis? It is a straight line joining the optical center and the focus. So let us, okay, one more term is there, like in the case of a plane mirror we define center of curvature. We don't have any term here like center of curvature because there is not one center. There are two spheres and there are two centers of curvature. And what we are doing is that we, in our 10th class, we have the case of the thin lens only. So in the thin lens case, there is no need to define a center of curvature. One center of curvature we are not going to define. So what we will do is that we will take a lens here, we will define the optical center, we will define the focus, and since the focus is lying both the sides, this side as well as this side, and you should be very careful that the focus should be at the same distance on the right side as well as the left side. What do we call this length? We call this length as the focal length. So the distance of the focus from the optical center is called the focal length. So focal length both the sides should be same. Now the second term that we used to define in the mirror was the center of curvature. Here we will not be defining center of curvature, rather we will take a point which we call as 2f. If the focal length is 5 cm, then I will define a point 2f which is at double the distance at 10 cm. It is on the right side as well as on the left hand side. We are going to define a point that we call as 2f, which is having the distance double the focal length. So finally what we are done with: optical center, focus both the sides, 2f position both the sides. So when we are studying rules, all these positions should be known to me. Similar are the terms that we are going to study in the case of the concave mirror. So let us revise them very quickly. Optical center, then there is a focus here, there is a point 2f here, and there is a focus here as well as, and there is a point 2f here also. So let us now study the image formation, and before that we should have an idea about the rules that we are going to follow in the case of convex lens and the concave lens. So let us see the rules. We are going to consider the case of a thin lens, whether we are talking of a convex lens or a concave lens. Our idea is to take a thin lens. The thickness is very, very small. So let us talk of the rules. What does the rule says? So principal axis here, principal axis here, optical center, this is the optical center. So the very first rule is, any light ray which is passing through the optical center will pass undeviated. Light ray passing through the optical center passes undeviated. This is rule number 1. And now second rule. What is the second rule? A light ray which is parallel to the principal axis, after refraction through the lens, passes through focus. Light ray parallel to the principal axis, after refraction through the lens, passes through focus. Same is the rule that we are going to study in the case of a concave lens. If the light ray is parallel to the principal axis, if the light ray is parallel to the principal axis, now the light ray actually does not passes through the focus, rather it diverges, it moves away from the focus. But if I extend the light ray backward, it appears as if the light ray is coming from focus. I repeat this rule. In the case of a concave lens, when the light ray is parallel to principal axis, it diverges, it moves away from the principal axis. It moves away from the principal axis. But if I extend the light ray backward, it appears as if it is coming from the focus. So there is a remarkable difference in this rule in the case of a convex and the concave lens. In the convex lens, the light ray actually passes through focus. In the case of concave lens, the light ray appears as if it is coming from the focus. So the rule number 3, what it says that if the light ray is passing through focus, if the light ray is passing through focus, the light ray when is passing through focus, how will the light ray emerge? If the light ray is passing through focus, it will emerge parallel to the principal axis. This is a convex lens case. And in the concave lens, the rule says that if the light ray appears to pass through focus, of course it will not go to the focus, it appears as if it is going to make focus, then it emerges parallel to the principal axis. If the light ray appears to go to the focus, it emerges parallel to the principal axis. And here if the light ray is passing through the focus, it emerges parallel to the principal axis.